It is 2021, and we are off at a bang as we just concluded New Year's Smash and a wrestling groundbreaking interpromotional six-man main event, and so much more. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2021, and welcome once again to AEWSPARK Re-Ignited on a brand new platform I'm now using called StreamYard. And if you all haven't heard of it, I highly recommend it. It's simple, it's cost-effective, it's a great way to connect with people and have fun in your own customized way. With that being said, I am your host. My name is Noah Foster, and with me on this first edition of AEWSPARK 2021 is a couple of good brothers. First off, he is a good-hearted Christian man, just like me. He is a great role model, and he is also a good doctor. It is, of course, my great friend, Dr. Bradley Campbell, Farm D. Dr. Brad, how are you?
Just, saving the world one script at a time.
Well, there you go. And of course, he is a huge, popular, good friend of mine that I've come to know since being a fan of All Elite Wrestling. I like to call him the All Elite Connect because for his platform, he connects you with virtual meet and greets and Q&As with some of your favorite and maybe newer favorite wrestlers. It is, of course, my good friend representing Pro Wrestling Junkies, Tim Tobin. Tim, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good. I can't wait to be your tag team partner, actually, in the tag team tournament. So we'll show you this group.
We're the Simple Gents, and for those that don't know, we are all part of a group called Team All Elite for Life, and we are also part of a tag team tournament. But if you want to be part of this All Elite family and community, or even want to be part of Spark, it's pretty simple. I first advise you, and the link will be in the description down below. Join us in Team All Elite for all things and all discussions, all memes galore too, for All Elite Wrestling. As again, it's just a fun community, open-minded to all things All Elite Wrestling and more. We're just AEW focused. With that being said, we've had a hell of a start to our 2021 as this is being recorded January 18th, 9:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's go ahead and get right into the discussion. And as always with AEWSPARK, even on this newfound platform, I still like to shed some light first on AEWDark, which I'm now calling the Spark Light. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Dark because there have been some surprising developments. I don't know about y'all, but I think AEW's on the verge of creating their own zoo with these different type of tag teams. We got dinosaurs, we got pandas, and now we got bears. As Bear Country, they recently picked up their first win in very impressive fashion. But also, again, as AEWDark gives us opportunity, it gives us new faces, it gives us new wrestlers to connect with. As, of course, you and I, Brad, connect with Kylan King, who, might I add, I think the tag team idea of her and Tessa Price just screams money. Who says Ohio and Michigan had to be enemies, despite the fact we kicked your butts the last 7 years? Sorry, Paul. With that being said, I thought they had a great match with Elise Diamante, who own women's tag team wrestling still, undefeated on Dark, I might add, with their only losses being on Dynamite to, well, unique pairings of champions. Besides that, Ashley Vox has now graced AEWDark. You all might know her, of course, from the Sea Stars. And yeah, there might be some buffering issues, folks. Again, it's the internet, it's technology. What are you gonna do? We're all here, so you all should be able to see and hear us. We'll take care of it in post. And I must say, Ashley Vox went the distance with Thunder Rosa, a good 8 minutes. And former women both involved in the NWA. Ashley Vox, of course, who wrestles in Impact with her sister, I believe. I'm curious if the Sea Stars will make their debut on AEWDark. And kudos to Danny Limelight getting his first win, someone I've been fairly impressed with as a follower of NJPW Strong. And I hope that he goes very far in AEW. I think there's bigger things for him. I can't say enough, by the way, about Anna and Conti's growth, development, and friendship, which has really become to flourish on AEWDark. Now they're on Handshake, literally backing up each other in matches, not necessarily in each other's corners for matches, less championship matches, but it seems like they have this mutual bond with each other. And folks, Ty Conti is still not part of the Dark Order. Quit asking. I hope to see more of Shana and Alex Gracia too. May they make more progress. Alex Gracia deserves more time. Shana, I worry sometimes about her neck with that ridiculous fisherman suplex type spot with the bridge that gives her the win, but she can hold her opponent down for a count of 5, it seems, because the ref has to help her get out because she's so bent backwards. So those are just some of my brief thoughts regarding Dark, who's impressed me, recent surprise victories, and who I think really can make a difference on AEW Dynamite because of what they've done on Dark. AEW signed talent or not. with that being said, before we get into all things Dynamite, let's go ahead and talk to these two regarding their thoughts lately on Dark. Who impressed them, who they want to see more of, who they hope maybe finally gets a win. Dr. Brad, I will start with you. Give me some thoughts. Shed some light to me on your Dark outlook. Who impresses you? Who do you want to see succeed? Who do you want to see more of?
Well, we've talked about this many times before. Kylan King is just phenomenal. She's probably I would say definitely one of my top 3 favorite women's wrestlers in AEW. I want to see her succeed. I want to see her move up the ranks. I'd say I wouldn't mind seeing some more matches from the Acclaimed and TH2. Even though they've moved up to Dynamite, for them to come back on Dark, they could really just have some great matches on there to help bring in some new fans, allow the wrestling community to see more of what they can do. The great thing about it, Dark is a free show. You can go back and watch it any time. So these young and upcoming talent have a lot of opportunity to really show their ability and show that AEW is the future of pro wrestling.
Yeah, I think they proved that enough in 2020. They're only going to go up from there, especially with the fact now you wonder if we're going to get more of this. Cody brought us our first ever Nightmare Factory showcase. And the funny thing is, everybody got a chance to show what they've learned so far under the Nightmare Factory. And we even at the end had involvement with the Dark Order. You wonder if the Dark Order is going to become like coaches, trainees, assistants, or like personal liaisons, part of maybe the Nightmare Factory. Is there more things to come from that too? Could that be a third platform in itself? And how many of those young, hungry, up-and-coming talent might we see on Dark too? It just seems like there's more and more and more being showcased and given to professional wrestling and race in the future. I really enjoy it, but I can't argue enough about how much I appreciate Kylan King. I want her to go so far in wrestling. I want to see her live one day in action. That's how much she impresses me. Tim, give me your thoughts regarding anything Dark. Who impresses you? Who you want to see more of? Who do you see maybe being the next breakout wrestler? Not necessarily becoming part of AEW, but maybe just taking over the wrestling scene based on what you've seen from Dark.
I think Big Country, like you said, Big Country is going to get pushed up to tag teams. The way they fought against the Jurassic Express and other tag teams, like they've been like stepping up. Also, like Red Velvet, she's been like doing unstoppable, and the Gun Club, especially like Austin with Billy Gunn and his sons, and like as trio tag team stepping up.
Yeah, Colton guy starting to make waves. I feel like this is still the most annoying trio tag team for Aubrey Edwards. I can see it every time she has to deal with these 3 men, especially Billy, in the ring. But I do agree on your points regarding the Gun Club as well. And again, with this whole idea of trios eventually coming to AEW, I can't wait to see who takes them first. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, Red Velvet, I'm glad you brought her up, by the way, because we're going to talk about her a little more. I gotta say, though, I'm a little annoyed. She stopped Leva's streak. Dang it. And Leva came out with a more darker type of look, it seemed, this time on Dark 2. I wonder if that was saying something about the future. Or is she going to play like 2 characters, like Kind Happy Library, Dark, Vixen? I don't know. There's something about, though. I was enjoying Leva's streak. I was enjoying Leva wrestling. Hope she wrestles more, but maybe now she's got like a fire lit under her, and now that she lost on Dark. In my opinion, this is like her first Dark in, I think, 4 weeks. So
she might play a Sue Young character, maybe, an Impact. I can see on Susie. I can see her doing that like a Dark.
Because Sue Young no longer exists. She's Susan, but it's not Susan. It's never mind. Going off the rails. You're gonna make me rant. I don't want to rant. Let's do it in the show. But great thoughts regarding Dark. And again, folks, it is free. It's on YouTube every week, 7 p.m. Standard Time. And if you can't catch it because it's as long as what Monday Night Raw used to be in its heyday, literally you can watch the matches individually a couple days later. I personally do that more often because Tuesdays are owned by another company that I'm sure we're going to talk about before this platform closes, Impact Wrestling. But before we get there, let's go ahead and get into what has happened these last couple of weeks as we reignite our discussions on AEWSPARK. These first 2 weeks of the year, after what probably was the most emotional night in the entire professional wrestling community since Eddie Guerrero's passing, you talk about really bouncing back and changing the game, and they did not let up. As we had New Year's Smash, which of course was a 2-week special regarding what was going to really be an introduction to AEW Dynamite and everything to come in it too for 2021. And boy, did it not disappoint. A ton of great moments, some interesting story developments, and talk about Omega's phrase changing the world. He's taking back the world, one promotion at a time, it seems. And we've got that and so much more. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first thing I want to cover here, and of course I'm not going to cover every detail because that'd be ridiculous. Let's go ahead and talk about Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, of course, has not been seen, of course, since he lost the title back to Omega last year in December at Winter is Coming. Yes, I know, Game of Thrones reference. It was one of the highlight matches of AEW's year. And since then, he's just been gone, period. He came back, though, and he acknowledges the fact that he's not going to bitch, whine. Sometimes you're on just the wrong end of a really bad plan, and he realizes what happened. But what he said he did for AEW for that title, he protected its integrity, its distinction, and its value, being the champion. And he plans to reinvent that again after going after Omega at some point. But he also decided to not get involved in what was to come, as he, of course, hyped up our main event of that Dynamite, where Rey Fenix was finally going to take on Omega. But simply, Moxley says, Boogeyman's coming. I'm not going to say what the Boogeyman says, that would be that copyright. But Jon Moxley, of course, empowering, encouraging. A guy says something, you best believe what he says. And I feel like that this is going to be a very different year for Jon Moxley in AEW, but still going to be an interesting year where, who knows, he might be number one again. We'll have to wait and see. But let's go ahead and talk about what Jon Moxley basically pontificated. Tim, give me your thoughts on Jon Moxley's introduction to his 2021 outlook and his warning to Omega.
I think Jon Moxley, it was a great look, but I think he's gonna be with Darby Allin maybe, and like, yeah, it's Darby Allin. Like, if you look at Darby Allin's match, like that's a phenomenal match for that against Brian Cage. But like, I think Moxley and Allin should be like a tag team. You go for the belts. It'd be like a phenomenal tag team with Sting as manager for both.
A tag team dynamic with Darby Allin. That certainly would be a different direction. Although Jon Moxley's radar still involves Omega heavily, whether or not it involves getting back the title or just getting revenge against the Omega and the guy he claims looks like a used car salesman, we'll have to wait and see. With that being said, Dr. Campbell, give me your thoughts on Jon Moxley's proclamation, pontification, and honestly, his warning to Omega and Don Callis.
Well, I think that Jon Moxley is a loose cannon, and you just never know when he's going to strike. Moxley is a wrestler who's very crafty in how he does things. He's out for blood. He's out for revenge. I was actually talking to Mark Griffith from Team All Elite, and we were actually talking on the chat, and he was actually telling me, what if Moxley just showed up at Hard to Kill and cost Omega and the Good Brothers the match against Rich? Yeah, I mean, so right now it's almost kind of like going back to the old WWF days where Vince McMahon said anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation. I think Moxley's just waiting to strike, and I think that we're going to see a rematch for the AEW title between Moxley and Omega in the near future. I would say at the next pay-per-view in February.
That would be Revolution at the end of February.
Yeah.
Of course, we have a special before that, as we learned, because we got Beach Break in early February. And, of course, we know the match we're going to talk about for that show briefly, too. But, yeah, as far as Jon Moxley changes dynamic from singles to tag teams, it could be a longer-term plan, but you really have to change the dynamic of Jon Moxley's mindset where Allin and Moxley all of a sudden coincide. It would have to be basically if Omega and Team Taz decided to coincide with one another. But speaking of coinciding, we did get a bit of collusion towards the end of this show in more ways than one. But before we get to there, let's go ahead and change gears to another highlight of night one. And that is, of course, the AEW Women's Championship. After a month, it seemed, of psychological warfare, it finally came ahead as Hikaru Shida defended the title against, the person that bit her neck, Abaddon. And people are like, this Abaddon is so unique. She's a future champion. This is a force to be reckoned with. Honestly, she scares me. And I gotta say, Abaddon, she really brought a good fight. this was probably better than the original match I remember these two had on Dark, which I might add was Abaddon's AEW unsigned debut. And since then, her and Shida, they finally met, and this match involved everything, including Shida once again being dragged, this time underneath the ring, and apparently got a piece of her neck bitten out again, which kind of sent her into a bit of a fear and a bit of a rage, as we saw her brace Abaddon constantly up against the barricade, and these two just went to town on each other. Really good aggressive fight, and at one point, Abaddon, we thought she was down, then she does this spider walk, yeesh, freaks Shida out for a moment, drops Shida with a clothesline, nice near fall, not enough. She goes for a gory special. Shida gets out of that. Next thing you know, we get the, what they call it, the tenacity knee strike, which of course her finishing running knee strike. And Shida has prevailed and retained the AEW Women's Championship. Really good best bout, and I would not write off Abaddon by any means. I don't think these two are done each other by a long shot, especially because I don't see Statlander, Genocide, or some other unique entity pairing up with Abaddon, let alone going after Shida right now. I thought it was a really good match, though. Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts on Shida's title reign so far. Would you say that Abaddon was her toughest opponent to date?
Absolutely. Abaddon made Shida look like an underdog champion. It was aggressive. Shida, I think, really sold all the blows and hits that she took. I actually thought Abaddon was going to walk out the new AEW Women's Champion, and I think I think many fans of AEW, and I've had this discussion with many in Team All Elite that AEW's greatest opportunity right now is to develop their women's division. And there's definitely been mixed opinions on Hikaru Shida. I think she's been a good fighting champion. She consistently performs well in the ring. But that was a match that, kept you on the edge of your seat. And, just to reinforce what I said earlier, definitely her toughest opponent as of yet. And that's going to add to her tenure as champion. That'll just be another notch on the belt, so to say.
Yeah. And again, Shida, she is, in my opinion, the best women's wrestler they have currently signed to All Elite Wrestling. Second and third, it's tied between Deeb and Rosa, in my opinion. Both renowned travelers, Renaissance women of professional wrestling, etc. And we see how much Shida can really show us how deep her character dynamic can go, too. Because, again, she looked like a bit of an underdog during this match. There was moments where we thought she was going to lose because Abaddon was not only beating her psychologically, she was kind of getting the better of her physically. I mean, she stopped that typical step-up knee strike on the apron and dragged her underneath the ring, bit out her neck. And who knows if she'd ever recovered since then. Tim, give me your thoughts on Abaddon, though. Abaddon has had an opportunity to go after the women's title, lost. Do you see Abaddon immediately coming after Shida again, or does she just fade away in the shadows and lurk and find a new target? What do you see next for Abaddon?
Maybe at Revolution she'll come back and fight.
But who? But Shida, again, revisited after Revolution. Well, I mean, we also got to figure out who could face Shida at Revolution, but we're still over a month away. But that's a brief, simple thought because we have not seen Abaddon since. He hasn't even been involved on Dark. But we're going to have to wait and see. And like Dr. Brad's camera right now, I think Abaddon's still looking up at the freaking lights. That's if she actually can see light. She's weird. But great match. I digress. All right. Good stuff. Okay, so moving on from there, we got to talk about, of course, our main event of that night because we're just starting 2021. This, of course, happened literally just after I saw Wrestle Kingdom. I already had like 4 Match of the Year candidates. And then we got freaking Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix. Holy hell. What a freaking match. I could talk about this match. I could spot monkey it, but again, it's not about me. It's about wrestling. Let's get your pontifications, points, moments, and thoughts from it. And then we'll talk about the little bit of surprise afterwards. But let's focus on just this match because Rey Fenix and Omega, it was one of those dynamics we knew that was going to work incredible because we know these two have met each other in AAA for the Mega AAA Championship on multiple occasions. And of course, Omega still holds that belt too and has gotten the better of Phoenix. To this day, Rey Fenix has been unable to beat Kenny Omega in singles action. As we saw here, that record still stands. But there are a couple of moments that we thought Rey Fenix truly could have had this. So let's go ahead and just talk about this match that already some are saying was a match of the year. And we're just starting the year, ironically. Tim, give me your thoughts on the match. Kenny Omega, Rey Fenix. What about?
It was a crazy match, but I can see if Ray and Lance Archer, because Lance Archer is teaming up with the Goodbrothers, so it'd be a good match, like if Lance Archer versus Kenny Omega next.
Well, Lance Archer has yet to face Omega, I think, in AEW, so you might be onto something there. I like the way you're trying to dictate the future. And it does seem Lance Archer right now in the Death Triangle kind of have what's the word I'm looking for? A connected relationship under the odds of circumstances. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, as of course that does play in the aftermath. But I like what you did there. Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts and moments on just this match, though. Rey Fenix, of course, pulling out the Eddie Guerrero tribute at one point. That ended up kind of costing towards the end, but some ridiculous offense we haven't seen from him before. It's like the guy did not know how to stay down, so Omega put him down with the one move that nobody ever kicks out of. What an effort by Rey Fenix. Give me your thoughts on this match.
You just didn't know when it was going to end.
You didn't want to end.
No, he just kept. I mean, Phoenix just kept getting up. I mean, he just kept coming out with like these crazy moves, or going over the top rope, coming off the turnbuckle. Definitely, a clash of styles with Rey Fenix in his, luchador high flying style, with Omega being, more of, that mix of, Japanese style with a bit of technical expertise and just his own unique, take on what he feels makes his character stand out. I mean, those two were basically they're just perfect dance partners. And to have a match like that kick off 2021 just shows that we have a lot to look forward to, not only in the career of Rey Fenix, but we have a lot to look forward to with this title run with Kenny Omega, because I think the best is yet to come.
Yeah, talk about a hell of a start. I mean, there were some crazy spots. These two literally run into each other. Rey Fenix's chest at one point looking like chopped meat. As you subtly alluded to, and as Excalibur called it, the outside-in cutter. By the way, Le Champion, Le Demo God, Chris Jericho was on commentary this entire night, and he was having a blast this match too. One of his favorite spots, though, was the initial knee strike to Kenny Omega's head into the Thunder Driver for a really nice near fall. And then these two at one point are literally welling into each other after Omega V-triggers Rey Fenix. He just springboards like Gumby, freaking popping up on a trampoline and just kicks Omega, knocks him out cold. I've never seen that before. I don't know whether that was instinct or rage or adrenaline or what. But that was certainly one of the craziest spots for me during that whole match. But, of course, Tiger Driver 98 after Rey Fenix tries to go for a top rope maneuver for another nice near fall. And then another Poison Rana ridiculous spot, as at one point we literally channel Latino Heat as Rey Fenix goes for the big frog splash, but crashes and burns on Omega's knees. Took way too damn long. Omega capitalized, of course, a V-trigger, one-man angel follow-up, and that was it in this incredibly aggressive bout, where it was anything but easy for Omega. And it was definitely worth the price of admission alone. But as we were thinking that this was it, and by the way, they even said this went beyond 10 p.m. They would stay on the air with this. That's how much they booked this match and its importance. Don Callis then takes the mic. He appreciates Rey Fenix's effort, but again, as he calls him, the god of professional wrestling, Kenny Omega prevails, and he says he's going to put Rey Fenix into basically the injury reserve list. But not before we think about Rey Fenix maybe and his family helping out, until we see backstage Eddie Kingston, the family, Butcher Blade with the bunny, literally abstaining Pac and Pentagon, so they could not come out, which of course set up our first match that we'll talk about in a moment. But before all this could happen, we were about to get One Winged Angel, who comes out to make their mark. John Moxley with a barbed wire baseball bat. John Cal's like, uh-oh. And literally at this point, we're like, John Moxley's about to beat Kenny Omega's ass. And then after we see the two most powerful Tonys in professional wrestling constantly brag about AEW Dynamite and the network, and Tony maybe buying them out, but Tony also giving an open invitation to anybody in Impact Wrestling to come to Dynamite. You wonder if that had to involve actually Boss being part of Dark. The freaking Goodbrothers invade AEW, and literally the internet breaks. As, of course, they take out John Moxley, and basically they take out everybody trying to get to the ring and take over, literally, AEW. It wasn't until the Young Bucks came in where cooler heads prevailed, it seems, and things finally started to dilute. But then Ken Omega, he puts it up, and literally at the end of the show, we have OG Bullet Club freaking reunited at the end of AEW Dynamite. I was like, what the hell? Of all things to happen in professional wrestling, I did not see a Bullet Club unit with the OGs, the Good Brothers, and the Young Bucks, and Omega come into play. Literally, this goes beyond the Elite. This is BC. Again, your Bullet Club for life. That's what they literally say. And of course, this also was alluded to back on BTE. But we're going to get more into that a little bit, how we think maybe there's more to this than meets the eye. As we've seen lately on BTE, it's the Young Bucks and Omega that truly do not seem to be on the same page. And then you have Don Callis calling the Good Brothers and Omega, who have been destroying, I might add, the Morrison Machine Guns and Rich Swann and Impact Wrestling ahead of Hard to Kill. He calls them the Super Elite. Is everything fine in the Elite? Just saying. But before we get into there, we'll go ahead and bound into next week. But you talk about an internet-breaking ending to professional wrestling's latest great product of the week on Wednesday nights, AEW Dynamite. Oofa. As we kick off, of course, into the go-home show runs for Impact and AEW following all this, we got to first talk about the next night of Smash. And again, I only focus on key big points. I understand Snoop Dogg, he did a very awkward splash where even Sasha Banks said, you got to improve your game, dog. And we've had, of course, the Young Bucks and SCU after they beat the Acclaim, the TH2. Seems like that title match feud might be revisited, at least before we talk about what's to come. And, of course, we had Inner Circle stuff. We're going to sum up the Inner Circle stuff in one thing. But let's go ahead and move into night two as we start off with, ironically, a family feud. As finally it came to head as Pac and Kingston, they kicked off our night this time in a very aggressive bout where these two literally, they did not live on each other until it looked like Kingston's back may have gotten screwed up following a big superplex spot. But then out of nowhere, Kingston bounces back with ridiculous clothesline offense. And as Kingston tries to step up for something big, one point, an Insiguri literally takes Kingston out of reality and back into it as they zoom in on his face, and it's like one of his eyes about to close. It's like, hey, Kingston, you all still there? If I was going to fall over or something. Regardless, these two, they went into each other, Butcher and Blade on one side with the bunny, and of course, we had Lucha Bros on the other side as it's Death Trial versus Kingston's family. In the end of this crazy bout, though, Pac pulls out the win with the Black Arrow, locks in the Brutalizer immediately, though, after the bell, until the families try to come into the ring, and we thought we were going to come to blows. But before anything could happen, as Butcher and Blade protect Kingston, who comes out? But the guy that says, everybody is about to die. Lance Archer. And literally, it's then that Butcher and Blade are like, okay, we need to get the hell out of here. Numbers not in their favor. Kingston's down. Butcher, Blade, Bunny, Kingston, they get the hell out of Dodge. What's interesting here, though, is the face-to-face we have with Pac and Lance. As we slowly heard what Lance says, get your act together. You and I need to get on the same page. As it looked like Jake was going to play Peacekeeper, but he's like, okay, I'm in front of the most dangerous man and the most ridiculous bastard. I'm going to get the hell out of here. And now I'm wondering, okay, what's going to happen here? So Pac got the best of Kingston. Lance has yet to get his hands on Kingston in a one-on-one match. Is Pac done with Kingston? Is Pac going to go after Lance next? What's going to go on here? Where's this family feud go? And how does Lance come into play? Is Lance the guy that puts it all to end by literally killing everybody? Only time will tell. But I was curious what this might lead to. So, Tim, give me your thoughts on this match and the aftermath. Where does this family feud go from here? And do you think Pac should have gone over this soon?
I think it was a good, totally good match, overall between Pac and Kingston. Like I said before, I think Lance Archer and Pac are gonna be tag team together, and Jake the Snake will be the manager of the tag team for them.
If Jake can somehow bring Pac and Lance together as a tag team, then he truly is the ultimate manager, because you have two of the most volatile, violent, dangerous, don't give any type of people in the AEW roster. How you bring those two on the same page? They're this close to coming to blows. And I feel like Kingston's going to find a way to stir it up next week.
But miracles do happen.
I'm just saying. But again, your long-term booking, we'll have to wait and see. AEW, anything could happen. Going off that, Dr. Bradley, your thoughts on this family feud? Where do we go from here? Does Kingston and Pac, do they meet again? Does Kingston, give Pac, okay, you beat me, it's over between me and you, Holmes, since you call for a truce? Where do you see this thing going?
It's like this. Eddie Kingston, he comes out. He cuts a promo. He comes to the mic. He goes in. He means business. He has another match with Pac. You see Archer come in. You get a triangle feud, which is symbolic of the formation of the Death Triangle. They all go at it, and you eventually have a resolution. But no matter what happens, Kingston still remains the king of the mic. And that, my friends, is how you cut a commentary on anything involving Eddie Kingston. For all those who watch BTE, I just had to do that.
Real talk right there, real man. I loved it right there because again, Kingston, he delivers it on the mic and in the ring, and I have a feeling this thing is far from over. I love what you did there. I hope that we do get more to this follow up. Maybe with Kingston right now, you know, he got his bumps, he got his licks in. Okay, Pac, you got me, bro, in one match. But it looks like you and Lance, you have unfinished business. So if either of you want to get your hands on me, you're going to have to duke it out among yourselves. That's what I can see. But then we see Kingston and his family come into play, try to destroy everybody. And I think that's how we ultimately form what I think you both are going towards, a triple threat. Now, whether or not this triple threat ends the family feud or means something bigger, because wins and losses do matter in AEW, I think we're just going to have to leave that to pure interpretation. But bottom line is this. This feels real. This feels personal. And I don't want it to stop here. And I hope this is only Pac vs. Kingston 1, not the only one. But again, we'll have to wait and see. All right. So good stuff, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and change gears now to what I want to focus on. These 2 weeks have kind of been around a little bit. Let's talk about the Inner Circle and the mayhem that's been involved within it, and how they plan to try and dissolve it. As it seems now, they're trying to figure out their new direction, but also who's going to be the tag team for the Inner Circle. So this all, of course, started off with the two big men, the juggernauts of the Inner Circle, duking it out on the previous week in a nice match, where, of course, Wardlow, he went over, which in my opinion is an upset because Wardlow does not have near as much experience as Hager does in the wrestling business. And Hager, of course, being with that mixed fighting background too, you figure that he would be the favorite going in here. He probably was. Wardlow, in the end, though, he figures out a way to get out of the choke with help of the ropes and also in-ring awareness, but also external ring awareness. They were up on the corner, and he drops Hager with an F10. Beats him as simple as that. But what's interesting is afterwards, they do have a respectful fist bump, but then we find Hager literally almost probably breaking his knuckles, throwing a what's the word I'm looking for? A rant, a rage, a panic, you know, a little bit of a show backstage. But MJF, of all people, MJF trying to calm down Big Hager. In a way, he does. And then Hager subtly says, get out of here. So again, MJF playing the game, just playing the game. It seems the Inner Circle trying to be friends with everybody. Although one person kind of still doesn't believe this crap at all. And he makes that really known in this Inner Circle resolution, it seemed, as they were giving out what they were going to do this year. Starting with Hager saying, championships, yeah! Which, in my opinion, should be the number one dynamic and the number one vision and the number one focus for anybody in professional wrestling. But as this continued to break down, we then try to figure out who's going to be the tag team for the Inner Circle. And we got these three dynamic teams set up now, it seems. Proud and Powerful, the true tag team of the Inner Circle. Let's just call it like it is. We got MJF and Jericho, and now this tandem of Sammy Guevara and Hager, after Sammy basically calls Jericho and MJF tag team sluts. Damn. And the thing, Sammy and Jericho were the original team of this group, the meme gods of every night of Dynamite, because they always gave us a meme for the internet or some sort of pose in the ring together. And now Sammy, he truly feels like Jericho's forgotten about that, and it looked like things are going to get volatile here. But Jericho, being the mastermind that he is, he calms down because he's the leader. He calms down everything and says, we're going to have a triple threat to determine who the true team of the Inner Circle is here. So this coming week on Dynamite, we're going to have a triple threat tag team match to determine who's going to be the tag team for the Inner Circle. MJF and Jericho, or Hager or Sammy, or Proud and Powerful, which might I add, again, the only legitimate tag team in the Inner Circle. But I digress. I don't know about y'all, but I see two things coming out of this. One, maybe Proud and Powerful finally start truly gathering momentum for what they are, and that is a freaking tag team, not just the raw pitbull, as Jericho calls them. And 2, I see more going towards Sammy Guevara finally breaking away from the Inner Circle, breaking on his own, and eventually I see him and Jericho maybe coming to blows, if not beforehand, MJF and Sammy. There are so many different dynamics I can see this going, but in my opinion, Proud and Powerful, they need the win the most here. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's go ahead and get your interpretation on this. Brad, I will start with you. As far as the Inner Circle goes, I feel that the Inner Circle is just right now on the verge of finally breaking apart, with Sammy finally leaving it. In my opinion, do you see Proud and Powerful being the team winning this Wednesday? And even in defeat, what's next for Proud and Powerful? And honestly, do you see Sammy feuding first with MJF or Jericho? I think Sammy's on his way out of the Inner Circle.
Well, it's interesting to talk about all these tag teams we have now in the Inner Circle, because Proud and Powerful has always been the tag team. It seemed like just a few short months ago, they teased a tag team with Jake Hager and Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that didn't really take off the ground, so to say. So we have this potential story of the we'll call it the eventual self-destruction or implosion of the Inner Circle, if you will. So the logical, for me, the logical move to make for proper storytelling in this is you let Jericho and MJF get the win. MJF has been the kiss ass. He's been the suck up. He's a fantastic heel. He'll get legit heat. Jericho still looks like a strong leader. It allows a feud to develop with between Sammy and who I think the first will be MJF, which could eventually then turn to Jericho. But you've got Proud and Powerful, who what started out as a pretty legit tag team. You saw a lot of the victories they had. I think the very first tag team tournament they had in AEW, they made it pretty far. They didn't win the tag titles, but they still did pretty well. They've had several opportunities for the tag team championships. They recently, in more recent memory, they lost to Trent and Chuck Taylor in a little bit of a longer feud that we've seen AEW do thus far. But it makes the most sense is if they're teasing the Inner Circle to break up, you let the leader and his new protege, his apprentice or whatever, get that win. You let everyone around them to really question what's going on, and then you allow, those individuals to start questioning. They come together, they challenge the authority, and then you've got a whole new string of heels and baby faces that are coming out, and then you've got all these different avenues that they can take.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, MJF basically playing the nice game, and then in the end, Jericho and MJF, they get the win, and now Proud and Powerful and Sammy, they all come together, and Hager, they all come together and be like, it's MJF ruining the Inner Circle. Okay. Tim, give me your thoughts on this triple threat tag match. Which team do you see winning? Who do you think needs the win? And what do you think can come from it as far as Sammy Guevara's maybe position in the Inner Circle? I feel that's the biggest story at the centerfold of all of this. What's Sammy's Inner Circle future?
I think, for me, Sammy Guevara and Hager are going to win this match. Definitely over.
Really?
Yeah, well, because I think Proud and Powerful are definitely going to leave, probably go Impact to become the Latin American Exchange again, maybe, if they lose. Since this feud with Impact and AEW, maybe they go back to Impact and become LAX. Or Conan and other people.
I mean, Conan did make a cameo in Las Vegas, so I definitely would not count that man out. Check out his podcast, folks. But Hager and Sammy, I mean, here's the thing. If that actually does happen, does that happen with them getting a pinfall on somebody in Proud and Powerful? Or does MJF give this false sense of security like, hey, Sammy, good job, brother. I'm glad you won. And somehow Sammy or Hager pin Jericho or MJF. Like, if you do see Sammy and Hager getting the win here, how's the dynamic going to fall out here? Like, who do they pin? Who gets the win?
I think Sammy will pin MJF.
Whoa. Oh, oh, wow. Okay. Now that really would say something here because according to MJF, he's still the guy that is unpinned, unsubmit in his own mind, despite the fact that Moxley beat him. Honestly, I think that's the only time literally he has eaten a fall. Okay. I like that a lot. And again, Jericho being at the forehead of all of this, how would he feel about this? Jericho at this point, he doesn't need to wrestle. He doesn't need to get another title. He's the guy that's done it all at this point. He says he can be fine just doing commentary for AEW at this point, which he's actually gotten a lot better at, in my opinion. And I think he really enjoys. So I like the fact you both had a different dynamic for this match. As far as Sammy maybe staying in a circle or MJF getting on Sammy's good side, or Sammy maybe breaking out and feuding with one of the other two. I feel ultimately, though, Sammy is going to become a babyface this year, and I feel he's going to leave the inner circle and feud with both MJF and Jericho, and I think it's going to be in that order. It would not surprise me if Jericho and Sammy happens at All Out, and I'm marking that down now. Sammy, Jericho, All Out. Because, in my opinion, Double or Nothing, Jericho says, we're going to try and make this match once a year. I don't know about you all. I want to see another Stadium Stampede. That was so much damn fun.
That was amazing.
Oh my god!
Come All Out season. Come All Out season. No, I'm going to say, hey, if it does happen, remember back at the beginning of the year when we thought that this match can happen? I'm going to hold you to it.
There you go. Simple as that. Let's see if I'm right. Hashtag with AEW. All right, good stuff. So as we look at the move away from the inner circle and what their future is, let's go ahead and look at the Elite. Is it becoming something greater? Is it finally devolving? Because you talk about we were going to get the Elite in action this week. Swerve, super Elite, apparently, as Don Callis basically says, Omega, he's got the Goodbrothers with him tonight as they took on the impromptu team of Danny Limelight and the Varsity Blondes. Congratulations to Danny Limelight, by the way, on his Dynamite debut, regardless of the scenario. As the Bucks and Tony Khan just look on backstage like, okay. I feel a little bit betrayed, disgusted, annoyed, etc. I feel there's a subtle bit of tension between Tony Khan and Don Callis. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Anyway, we all knew that Omega, and regardless of Elites, Omega's team was going to get the win here, and they did, of course, with Omega getting the win. But, of course, as they go in for post-match beatdown and madness, who comes out because the guy has no fear and will take on the world? Jon Moxley. And once again, it's Jon Moxley trying to get the best of the used card salesman, Don Callis, and Kenny Omega. And then all hell breaks loose. It's, of course, the numbers game. But of all people that come out along this thing as this melee continues, the Lucha Brothers, they make their spot known as the Young Bucks try to once again be peacemakers. Jon Moxley wasn't having it. I was pretty sure Jon Moxley was going to paradigm shift one of the Young Bucks. Surprised he didn't. Well, he didn't need to because we're revisiting a rivalry since the beginning of AEW, it seems now. And it makes me question who the hell is going to challenge these guys next for the title, despite the fact FTR beat Jurassic Express the previous week. As the Lucha Brothers, they take out the Young Bucks, and Jon Moxley just go along with this. By the way, I don't know if you suddenly heard it, but Jon Moxley says, God, I love this shit. So Jon Moxley's loving this. So once again, we have all these different dynamic pieces now. Is things fine with the Elite? Is the Super Elite now the new Elite? And now we got one of the AEW tag titles future. This was basically a story. This match basically concluded into like two different stories and three different paradigms. As of course, these three, they were preparing for their match, which we just saw this Saturday, we'll talk about shortly, at Hard to Kill, after what happened this past Tuesday at Impact, where Carl Anderson lost to Rich Swann, and we end the show with an all-out melee and brawl. And then, of course, we have now the Lucha Brothers. They want the tag titles, it seems now, from the Young Bucks. They finally want that piece of gold. In my opinion, they are overdue to be AEW Tag Team Champions. And Jon Moxley says, hell is yet to be paid. He still wants to get the better of Don Callis and Kenny Omega. Whether or not it's for the title or not, I don't think he cares about that at this point. He just cares about protecting the title's image and, in his opinion, righting a wrong, getting some revenge. So we had a Super Elite Swerve, and now we got to figure out the AEW Tag Title's future. So this is basically a conversation of two different topics. Let's start with this Swerve here. Tim, were you surprised at all that the Good Brothers finally got involved physically in an AEW match following what happened the previous week? Did you see the Good Brothers being Omega's partners to begin with?
Yeah, I did, actually. Especially from Impact. If you look at Impact, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was a pretty predictable moment. Now, give me your thoughts on the tag titles. We got the Goodbrothers, the Impact World Tag Team Champions, and we got the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Omega is basically right now, he's with the Goodbrothers. But then you got the Lucha Brothers now who want to go after the AEW Tag Team Champions. So the Young Bucks right now, they don't know which way to think. They're maybe losing a friend. They don't know what's going on here. And now they got to worry about the next guys coming up for their titles. I don't know about you, but I think we're getting Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks at Revolution. Do you see that happening?
Yes, at Revolution, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you one more question before I give these topics to Brad. Do you see it being a ladder match?
I don't think so. No.
I hope not. God! After that one match at All Out, I don't think we ever need to see Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers in any form of a ladder match again. Jesus.
Maybe it could be a hardcore match, maybe.
They still have probably a ladder involved, but I digress. Okay, Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts on this swerve. Are you surprised by this at all? And are you kind of surprised that the Young Bucks, they didn't come out even during this match to basically tirade Omega?
I mean, I guess I was maybe a little bit surprised, just because I think that you see Kenny Omega with the title now. You got the Young Bucks with the tag titles, so I think it was a really opportune time to let the Elite kind of reign supreme, so to say. But the fact that Omega has chosen the Good Brothers, it just makes sense. He's playing a heel character to be with a heel tag team. Like, it worked. And, it brings back those memories of the Bullet Club. There's a bit of nostalgia for fans. So, I mean, overall, it was a nice little swerve. And as far as, who will challenge the Young Bucks for the tag titles, I would like to see Lucha Brothers go at it with them again. I think we eventually will see Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks, but you can't discount FTR. They've been red hot with the promos lately. That was a match in the making, and I think that if there were to be a rematch, I think that's something that the fans would want to see. I think universally, those two tag teams are considered amongst the best in AEW. But I'm going to kind of throw a little bit of a curveball here, because another tag team that we may potentially see to come out on top, I'm going to go with the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver.
The Dark Order? Out of nowhere? Whoa! I didn't even think about that, considering right now, you kind of got to wonder, what's the Dark Order's future image, leader, directive going to be? Because right now, the only moment I see going on with the Dark Order is the fact right now they're trying to recruit a freaking cowboy. And whether or not the cowboy joins them, we did learn that Dark Order, they will be involved in 6 or 8-man tag team action, I think. And literally, he did say that following this match, he would give an answer to whether or not he would join the Dark Order. Now, whether or not he actually joins the Dark Order, I feel like that's still very much up in the air. But the hell of it, subtopic, why not? I'm just going to ask you all straight up, keep it as simple, as short, and sweet. Is Hangman Adam Page going to join the Dark Order? Yes or no? Brad, you first.
I'm leaning towards no.
Tim?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so, okay? Look, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like the original plan was going to be him literally feuding with, rest in peace, Mr. Brody Lee, because we saw the seeds planted in that forever, since BTE, where they literally found out he filled the application but didn't hear anything and forcing Uno to hit himself with papers. Then, of course, we had a fallout of matches, series of matches with the Elite and the Dark Order across AEW Dynamite. And literally at one point, Adam Page called them the one C word you're not supposed to. So I don't know about y'all. I can see the Dark Order winning this week, but I feel like him and Adam Page is going to continue to hold them in suspense. He's not going to outright say no, but him joining the Dark Order, I don't know. But again, we'll have to wait and see. I do like this dynamic, though, of Hangman with the Dark Order. I think it's brought a lot of fun segments, not only on BTE, but Dynamite. And, of course, freaking John Silver. You can't say enough things about that guy, all right, and how much he's pushing this. Honestly, I can see this ending with John Silver and Heyman Adam Page because John Silver is going to be pissed, I feel like. Because John Silver's like the happy-go-lucky guy right now. Pumped, Jack, let's go. That type of nonsense, you know? But again, we'll have to wait and see. All right. Anyway, folks, go to Dark Order if you already haven't. That was for you, Mr. Broily. And Anna Jay. Anyway, let's move on back to our original course here and talk about the women's division, as we had a special first-time segment with Cody recently coming off a win, of course, against what was it, like Serpentico or something like that. And of course, that led to it was Angelico and this Serpentico involved, and then we literally got Snoop doing the splash. But we wonder about Cody and all these paradigms. He's going to be a father. Shaq right now seems to be on his radar, more so Shaq's radar, I feel like. I don't think Cody's really worried about that. And as Cody comes into the waiting room and gets questioned, almost, it seems, who comes in and makes their statement known but one Jade Cargill, as she waits for finally her opportunity. Who's she gonna face? She was like, if Brandy was here, I sucked the taste of her mouth right now. I'm glad you did the best thing you could, and that was getting that woman pregnant. Damn. But apparently, Brandy Jr., I like to call her, Red Velvet, took offense to this. And next thing you know, we have a fight on the first ever Dynamite edition of the waiting room that involved an all-women audience breaking it up. I don't know about you all, but that audience alone is the making of a future women's division, and I feel like that's the future direction of AEW. I hope they put more into it, as I saw many valid candidates, including Kylan King. The bottom line is this, though. A melee ensued, madness galore, as Dr. Britt Baker, basically, she did her own way. Seriously, someone get Reba's laugh on a freaking soundboard, okay? Because they can just plug that on any sitcom, and I'll believe it, okay? Reba's the star of that show. There, I said it. But that wasn't the only big story here, as of course we also learned as Thunder Rosa came up with a promo after Britt basically talked about how she embarrassed her, wiping away what basically makes Thunder Rosa what she is, her heritage. It's finally official. And I'm definitely going to save the doc for this last, because that's the good doctor. But Tim, give me your thoughts on these two things. Jade Cargill, the impact, no pun intended, she's having so far in AEW. I feel like this feud with Red Velvet is going to be a good start to her. But this whole idea of her and Vicky being together, do you see Vicky being in her corner at all? And do you see Red Velvet possibly going over, since she is right now the woman with more wins, as she did just beat Leva Bates? But also, give me your thoughts on now. The fight finally comes ahead. Talk is over. You got to wrestle, but you more so got to fight. We're getting Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Thunder Rosa at Beach Break in February. Give me your thoughts on both these matches and feuds. And also, I thought the waiting room was pretty cool.
Yeah, but like I said, this is the second feud, because remember, Scorpio Sky and Sean Spears in the waiting room too had a feud.
That's true, but that wasn't on Dynamite. That was on Dark, and of course, we saw files of that as Sean Spears has been MIA. So right now, we're just focusing on the women's division, because right now it's nice to see the women's division getting more time, getting more storylines, and the presenting more talent. About time, in my opinion, way overdue. I don't know about you, but I'm more excited about how this Thunder Rosa Britt Baker thing falls out. What are you more excited for, Tim? Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, or Jade Cargill's in-ring debut?
I think Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker definitely at the beach one, the rest of the beach.
Do you think that Red Velvet and Jade Cargill should also take place at Beach Break or beforehand?
I think beforehand, definitely.
Okay. All right, Dr. Brad. The good doctor, she's at the middle of all this chaos, but right now she has to worry about finally dealing with Thunder Rosa in the ring. So give me your thoughts on the way this story has played out, and what do you expect to see in this match? Thunder Rosa is finally going to get her hands on the doctor, so good luck to her.
Yeah, this has been another long build-up. And, we've seen Britt Baker interfere in Thunder Rosa's matches. We've seen Thunder Rosa come out in more recent memory. Britt Baker just plays that perfect snobbish heel that you just want to see, get what she has coming to her. I don't know if it's going to end on just this one match. I can almost actually see, just because we haven't seen Britt in action too much, I could almost see her getting the win with assistance from Revel. Then we see a rematch, and that's where Thunder Rosa finally gets her revenge.
Ooh, raise the stakes, maybe, for an even crazier match in the women's division. How pissed off can you make Thunder Rosa? That is the question.
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa right now is ticked. Okay, she's ticked. But speaking of ticked, I don't know who's more angry right now. The fact that Jade Cargill's been waiting this long, or the fact that Red Velvet feels like she has insulted what probably is her best friend, if not her role model, Brandy. I don't know about you, but I feel like Red Velvet and Jade Cargill, they're going to have a very physical feud as well. I don't think it'd be in a 1-2. Give me your thoughts on that. Jade Cargill finally, I think, has her feud and her in-ring debut coming up.
Well, and that's another feud that's got some potential long-term booking implications, because we've seen Brandy Rhodes thrown in the middle of those three, or those two rather, making it those three individuals.
Right.
I actually could see Jay Cargill getting the first victory, and you let her get some momentum. Allow her to have a match with Brandy down the road and let Brandy get that win.
Brandy getting the win. It sounds like something that's just going to anger the wrestling community, because it seems like people don't want to see Brandy either wrestle or win. I feel like people believe that Brandy could potentially be another Stephanie McMahon, and I feel that's the wrong idea. But again, Brandy's one of those that is also a friggin' EVP. So I feel like she's one of those that doesn't want to necessarily go over herself. She wants to push the future, but again, she also talked about becoming a wrestler, wanting this more than anything, yada, 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 giving up ice skating. So I kind of can see it both ways, from both your perspective, the concern, conscious concern of some people, I might add, not just blatant JD ranting madness BS. I can see both sides, but again, we're going to have to wait and see. All right, good stuff. Now, before we go into, I know what's something that everyone wants to talk about, we got to talk about more of the women here, because I don't know about you all, but one of the strongest things to happen in AEW was when Serena Deeb became All Elite. And then that got further elevated when she became the NWA Women's World Champion. As young, up and coming, only 3 years in her career, Tay Conti had a very hard-fought and honorable bout. It honestly probably was her first ever championship match in her wrestling career, while Anna Jay was in her corner supporting her friend, her BFF, and they both have a handshake now and everything. But again, as pretty much Anna Jay lost to Shida, Deeb fought hard and overcame Conti, who applied a lot more of a striking background. I was kind of surprised, versus a technical background, considering Serena Deeb. More so, I feel like she could have had her on a mat game. But this is a really good back and forth contest. I thought the full Nelson and then stunner into the attempted Thai KO was a good spot. But again, with Deeb working on the legs of Conti at one point. By the way, ridiculous pump kick by Tay Conti. Wow, that pie face freaking Deeb. I feel like, though, the work that Deeb did on Tay Conti's legs basically helped her from preventing the Thai KO. Something tells me that Thai KO actually happened with the spots we saw in this match. Ty probably could have won this, and these two are no strangers to each other. There's respect between both women, no doubt. Rib breaker, though, into a nice backslide for a near fall, and then a gory special on the ropes in the corner. I thought that was very innovative by Deeb, as she used the entire 4 count. Did not get disqualified, thankfully. But then her finisher now, called the Deep Tox. Serena Deeb, she overcame Tay Conti's aggressive nature and got the win. No interference by the Dark Order. No interference by Anna Jay. A very respectable bout. As we continue to look at this dynamic of friendships, join the Dark Order or not, with Anna Jay and Tay Conti, I feel like I like this friendship dynamic. I'm curious how much longer they go with it, but I don't want it to stop. And it seems like these two are just on mutual ground. But Deeb, at this point, she seems like there's no equal right now to stopping her in AEW when it comes to her NWA Women's title reign. I thought this was a really good match. And again, I feel like Tay Conti and Anna Jay, they are future stars of AEW if they aren't already. Tim, give me your thoughts on this match.
I think it was a good match, but I think I can see in the future that Deeb either fight Ivelisse or Diamante for the next NWA championship.
White bag.
They certainly have met each other in tag matches. So, I mean, we've seen Shida and Deeb tag together to take on Ivelisse and Diamante. And we've also seen Ivelisse Diamante kind of have this, I feel like, alliance with Guerrero and Deeb fighting on the side of Brandy. So you might be onto something there. But give me your thoughts on Tay Conti. Where did Tay Conti go from here? Both Tay and Anna now both had title matches. They both lost. Do they just continue to support each other in matches and grow and go forward? Is there maybe a fallout eventually where the two face each other one-on-one? What do you see happening with Tay Conti?
I could see them fighting one-on-one eventually in the future.
Okay.
Conte turning on AJ.
What an emotional moment that would be. Anna Jay and Tay Conti could be a very emotional story of a friendship broken. But I digress. And shout out to Mrs. Campbell in the background. I heard you. Hello. Dr. Campbell.
Noah says hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry,
hey, how's it going? Okay, Dr. Campbell, give me your thoughts on Serena Deeb and how she's been as the NWA Women's World Champion. She really has come a long way in wrestling after we learned on Unrestricted how she took like a break for a while. It's like AEW has reignited her in a way. Of course, we're also coming off a somewhat decent match with Tessa Price, who's also a young up-and-comer on Dark with someone now in her corner. Not sure where that dynamic goes. But overall, Tay Conti, for a woman only 3 years in her career, this probably was her strongest match to date. Give me your thoughts on this match.
So I was actually getting ready to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. This is definitely Tay Conti's best match, best performance that we've seen from her. You couple this match with the previous week of Hikaru Shida versus Abaddon. I think that AEW is basically making the statement that their women's division is no joke. You think about the talent we've got from NWA and Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. It is helping to elevate the talent that AEW is trying to make as the future in women's wrestling. Serena Deeb just fought like a champion. Tay Conti made you believe that she actually could be a champion. Great back and forth match. Lots of physicality.
A lot of emotion.
Yes. I mean, this is the type of match that you could have put on an AEW pay-per-view and it would have lived up, to the expectations that we expect from a championship match. I was thoroughly impressed, and just to see kind of Anna Jay on the sidelines and seeing her not be that typical, heel that she is with the Dark Order and just constantly taking cheap shots, but she's there to kind of help support, and she's cheering her friend on, and you see that from her, and it makes you as a fan just want to cheer on Tay Conti. And then at the end, it's like she loses, but at the same time, you know that her time is coming.
So young, so up and coming indeed. And this whole dynamic of these two just supporting each other now, who have had their two biggest matches in their professional wrestling careers so soon into their careers, I might add, both coming off championship losses. You wonder how much farther this friendship dynamic can go. Will they start maybe questioning each other? Do you see a fallout eventually with Anna Jay and Tay Conti that could result in a one-on-one match?
It's potential. I've actually almost toyed with the idea that you could see Tay Conti maybe join the Dark Order, adding some more, female talent.
Yeah. But we've seen Anna Jay try to teach Tay Conti her ways. Tay refuses to do that. And I feel like nowadays, Anna is realizing Tay does not want to do things the Dark Order way, but she respects the Dark Order for their support. Because again, like you said, Anna Jay, she just literally watched on. She didn't get involved at all.
Yeah.
So again, a very interesting dynamic with these two young up-and-comers. And again, Deeb, gone in the future, leading as champion, really puts this title on her shoulder, fights with all her heart, an incredibly evenly hard-fought match. And decent time, too. I'm glad they're finally giving a little bit more time to the AEW women's matches, despite the fact there was a commercial break, which is always a fan. Picture. Bleh. But I'm glad they're actually giving it more time actually on TV. So, again, at this point, though, who could stop freaking Deeb and Shida? Good grief almighty. What's your thoughts regarding who could challenge Deeb next? He fought one of the Las Cincalias, Ivelisse Diamante. Who do you see challenging Deeb next? Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you could you could potentially throw Anna Jay back in the picture. I think especially after that loss Ty Conti took, you could build a story to throw her back in. You allow Thunder Rosa to get a win over Britt Baker, then she'd easily be the next person to, challenge to take her what she feels is her rightful place back as the NWA Women's Champion.
Considering Britt was the one that cost her in the first place with the rematch on Dynamite, you literally might be going full circle. But again, we'll have to wait and see. The beauty, though, of this women's division, it's still so young in development. It has no real definitive direction or leader. Despite the fact the most experienced women wrestlers here are Shida and Dee, it's not like literally you can just depend on these two with the different dynamics and the potential up-and-comers involved in this division as well. Plus, of course, Trish Statler, we all want the alien back, still on the sidelines. I can't wait for her to be back. I know she's a future champion. So I'm very curious where this all goes. But again, congrats to both women. And Conti, emotional, hard-fought battle. This close. This close. All right. But speaking of emotionally hard-fought battles, you talk about a relentless nature, and you talk about one hell of a champion and one hell of a legacy yet to be written. What cannot be said following the weird weigh-in segment where there was over 100-pound difference, but we see Sting in Allen's side as Taz personifies Cage will be the TNT champion, and Cage nearly got the job done. But it was a simple wrestling move that allowed Allen to survive the machine. Let's be honest, he survived the machine. Let's go ahead, folks, and talk about what I think was the best match of the entire 2 weeks, and that was the TNT title match with Darby Allin and Brian Cage. Holy hell, what a relentless effort. Enough said. Dr. Brad, I particularly want to give this straight to you because you're the one that really wanted to talk about this, so I'm just going to stop. Give me your thoughts, questions, moments, everything regarding this match. Folks, this is the doctor's time. Take it away.
Darby Allin has got a lot to live up to as a TNT champion after the legacy of Mr. Brody Lee and, Cody Rhodes and their previous, runs to the belt. This was your typical David versus Goliath type of match. Darby Allin versus Brian Cage. And that toss that Brian Cage did, Darby Allin just throwing him over the ropes into that table
exploded.
Yeah, that.
God.
I mean, you could just hear Taz in the background just saying, "Who can stop the path of Cage?" Just that. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, Darby is not the biggest guy in AEW, but man, he just plays the tough SOB character so well. And it makes it believable. I mean, he just this basically just walking ragdoll that pain doesn't get to him. He comes in, he keeps coming back. And I didn't think you would see a clean win, but it made sense, the interference, and seeing Darby come off the top rope to get that finish the way he did. I thought it was a believable way to take out Brian Cage. Everything in that match was executed near flawlessly. It was just, it was just a brutal beatdown and just total carnage for the whatever time frame that match lasted.
The TV time remaining, I mean, they went the distance, that's for sure. But you talk about a way to protect the machine, but survive it as well and bring that identity of who could stop the path, who could survive the path of Cage. Darby Allin barely did. And again, I don't think it hurt Cage in defeat. Now it is Tim's time. Tim, your thoughts on this match and everything that happened.
This was a crazy match. I agree with Brad saying David Goliath because like a giant like Goliath. So like, and Tyrone and Sting is like father and son duo together almost. Like So it's gonna be crazy duo together,
Yeah,
like a father and son duo, maybe.
All right, well, y'all keep it simple. I mean, yeah, this match was a bloody insane. I mean, again, it was literally a over 100-pound differential as all Team Taz was there, but Darby Allin, afraid of nothing, relentless, reckless, only 50% human. He went out there on his own. He tried to overpower the machine. Did not work. He tried to bring the machine down to his level. And at one point, he gets clotheslined out of his boots and then thrown over the top rope, through the table. Table crashes, burns, explodes. We find a broken body under a mass of wood and everything. Busted open. He still fights back, literally insulting the man, flipping him off, slapping the machine in the face, trying to get it in his head. And it worked to a degree. At one point, he literally gets Brian Cage so upset, but Brian Cage gets the nears of near falls in this match. Ricky Starks couldn't believe it. Brian Cage had enough. He wanted to end the guy with the steel steps, ended up biting him in the butt, as literally Darby Allin, he makes Brian Cage do the steel steps, pump, and then Coffee drops Brian Cage while he's on the steel steps for a nice spot, and then tries to capitalize from there, not enough. Code Red out of nowhere, literally gives Darby Allin a near fall win. But then following that, he tries to be a little bit ingenious as he goes to basically use his belt to try and tie the machine's legs down. And literally he tries to go for, I think, some sort of like DDT, but Cage just literally lifts him up and throws him off. And then following that, of course, he does get out of the belt. He throws the belt to the side. Brian Cage is ready to finish this guy off, but Darby Allin was going to have none of it. And then literally as Darby Allin finally gets the machine down after a stunner, we finally see Mr. Ricky Starks try to get involved, and then click. Lights come back on. It's Sting! And Ricky Starks learns why that bat is so lethal to the midsection and his job. Good luck cutting a promo. Following that, it gave Darby Allin the opening he needed, as the doctor alluded to. A simple crucifix bomb off the top rope pins the machine down enough for Darby Allin to retain this title. As Snow comes down, Team Taz is up on the stage, pissed. Sting subtly looks at Darby Allin and then subtly just looks at Team Taz, and that is it. So as of right now, Darby Allin, he truly is the never say die guy, as he has successfully retained the TNT Championship. His first defense, I might add now, of his TNT title reign. Where does he go from here? Where does the TNT title go from here? Only time will tell. But an absolutely incredible match. And what a way to cap off an incredible 2-week special of Dynamite's New Year's Smash, as we now resume normal activity this week with a very unique card. Okay, so before we talk about other things AEW, there was something else that really changed the world that happened. Let's go ahead and move into what happened this past weekend, as we had one hell of a hard-to-kill pay-per-view, headlined by a 6-man interpromotional tag team match, commentary by Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown. If you listen to them, they drop a lot of subtle name drops. There's NJPW, there's Ibushi, there's Golden Lovers. They talk about how AEW, basically, they give wrestlers opportunities that are non-contracted, and they're willing to work about just any promotion. They even give a subtle shout out to the AEW commentary team of Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and good old JR. So I feel like there's a bit of friendly respect there among the two. But this match was anything but friendly. It was aggressive. It was violent. Everybody did everything they could to get the win here. It could have gone either way. But honestly, in my opinion, the strongest come out of this match was the guy you think would not be in it. That was Moose. So let's go ahead and talk about this 6-man tag team main event, because I don't know about y'all, but not only did it set up a number of things that could happen in AEW, it set up, I believe, the next big-time feud to come for Impact Wrestling, and maybe we got an idea who's coming next from Impact to invade AEW, etc. I don't know if this was a one-off, but this definitely was one of the best 6-man tags I have seen in a long time in wrestling in general. Tim, give me your thoughts on this 6-man tag team match and Omega pinning Swan.
It was a crazy match. I watched the whole pay-per-view for Hardkill. It was like probably one of the best matches beside the Full Metal Mayhem with Eddie Edwards in them.
The bar I think I get you.
Yeah, but I think Rich One will come to AEW because he's gonna get pinned by Moose. Moose probably take the title from Rich One, because if he's coming up, he wants to get challenged to Rich One. So I think Rich One will probably come to AEW. Then I don't know.
Okay. So you think Rich Swan's going to be the next guy to come to AEW to get some revenge on Omega, or maybe come after his title? Maybe not title, but maybe in defeat, he wants to come after the AEW title. Okay, it's an interesting dynamic.
But if I don't see Swan, it'd be Moose. I can see Moose actually with the 2 titles that he has.
Hey, you saw that feature and like you think that hurt me. It didn't hurt me. The second one did though. As Omega's like, okay, how about this one? Bang, straight to your face. So yeah, I would love to personally see Moose versus Omega, whether it's Impact or AEW. But I can see either of those two getting involved some point in AEW from Impact Wrestling. Okay, Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts on this match. Who impressed you the most? This was a hell of an interpromotional affair.
Well, I think that this is one 6-man tag team match where all 6 men who are involved looked excellent for the course of this match. You know, usually in tag team wrestling, I mean, you usually are going to have, you know, 1 or 2 guys that really stand out, especially, you know, the more people that you add. But all 6 guys just gave a hell of a performance. I mean, Rich Swann just really showed how agile he is. He hung so well with Omega and the Good Brothers. You know, Moose was just a freaking powerhouse. You know, Chris Sabin, I mean, he looked like a main event star the way that he was going toe to toe with Omega. You know, the Good Brothers and Omega played, you know, your classic heels. You know, they struggled the majority of the match. You really thought that the guys from Impact are going to get the victory with how the match played out, but you know, they always just had a few tricks up their sleeve. You see Omega, you know, do the one-winged angel to get the final pin at the end. See them standing up at the top of you know, the ring, you know, with their hands held high. It's just, you know, one more reason for Kenny Omega to say that he is the champion among champions and that he is here to dominate. You know, he and his faction, you know, we'll call it, you know, the Bullet Club for now. They take on Impact. They win. You know, this will be an opportunity for a champion versus championship match. Omega versus Rich Swann.
Yeah, that's if he's still holding the title, but Tim alluded to maybe it'd be Moose. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at this match because it kind of was an idea of 3 matches when I look at the dynamics across both teams. By the way, shout out to Omega, LG, Luke Gallows, and of course Carl Anderson. Literally, they all came out in different but united Bullet Club attire. Talk about really bringing the band back together. As Don Callis with his own sort of intro for Omega, by the way. I will say this. Lot longer than Justin Roberts. No, North Carolina. I didn't like it. I hope Justin Roberts continues to do it. I feel like Don Callis is going to take over the duties. But anyway, the fact that we heard the freaking battle cry music, a simple Omega AEW Titantron, and Kenny Omega in an AEW ring, which I'm sure is built differently than the AEW ring. I can only imagine how he felt he did during there and moving around there. I'm surprised he didn't go for Rise of the Terminator at all in this match either. It was definitely a different dynamic. So, yeah, looking at this match, you had Carl and Sabin. I feel the most technical and speed dynamic of these teams here going at it for a moment. Then you had the battle of the big men as LG and Moose. They battle for control of the ring, and neither man got the better of the other. And then you had the match that everyone was waiting to see, the big money affair here. The Impact World Champion, the AEW World Champion, Swann and Omega, they duke it out. And then Team Impact literally fighting for the company and for the pride that they have being part of Impact Wrestling, not letting this guy literally come in here and take over their turf. Moose, might I add, giving us moves I've never seen before, and once again proving the fact to me that big men should not be able to do things that they do. What the hell? A standing moonsault into a nice near fall, followed by a triple splash combination by Bullet Club. And then this match progresses. Moose takes over control. He hits Bullet Club on a 3-on-1 assault. And then everybody just pulls out all the stops. We have a triple kick in the corner as Moose subtly teases Omega. Discus clothesline, first near fall of the match on Kenny Omega. It's interesting that Omega was the one here, not only eating the falls, but trying to get the fall. Like he was the focal point, it seemed, this entire match practically. as this match continued, there was a ridiculous sit-out powerbomb, but then Moose basically, he and Lugaus, there's a thrust kick, there's a combination Shoryuken, then a V-trigger, all 6 men are down. Then Moose somehow gets up as Omega's in the corner and pulls off a ridiculous avalanche Spanish fly as Saban with a powerbomb follow-up for a nice near fall again on Omega. Everybody's trying to pin the AEW World Champion. But after this, I feel like he went way too high, but maybe that's just because of the height differential between Moose and, of course, Saban or Swan. They go for a Doomsday Device. I like how Matt Striker basically called a modified Doomsday Device. But then following this, Omega, he takes over. Bang! V-trigger. But then he gets caught in a Poison Rana, and Swan just goes to town on him. Buzzsaw kick into a 450, into a near fall. He almost pins the AEW World Champion. Not enough. Goodbrothers come into play. They pull off a magic kill out of nowhere. A near fall, though, it's broken by Moose. But then Moose and Omega, they go at it, and Moose literally challenging Omega like, you think you caused me pain? Let me show you what pain is. Well, a second V-trigger on the ropes. In fact, with Omega, wide-eyed, crazy guy type stand, or cleaner type look. He gets the better of Moose while LG occupies him, follows up with another V-trigger on Swan, pins Swan with the one wing angel, 1, 2, 3. And the AEW World Champion not only gets the win here, but the Super Elite gets the win on an Impact Wrestling pay-per-view with Impact and AEW World Champions. Might I add, Brian Hebner, welcome back to Impact Wrestling, by the way. What a pleasant surprise. And if you all have not seen this Hard to Kill pay-per-view as a whole, I highly recommend it. Definitely a great dynamic pay-per-view, 95% done well and true. And if you haven't already, check out Tay Turnbuckle and my good friend Cindy G's review on it too, and the Bulletcast as well. So yeah, this was a very interesting match. I did not see Kenny Omega pinning the Impact World Champion. I thought both champions were going to be protected. But in a way, it kind of does still, because Omega, he's the strongest. AEW looks the strongest. Gives this time now that Tony Khan can continue to brag on paid advertisement. Hey, Impact Wrestling, I hope you enjoyed Kenny Omega on their show. And again, I welcome any of you to come to my show. Come to a real show. And I feel like now all the cards are in favor of Tony Khan. But huge props to everybody that night in Impact Wrestling. Now does Moose, who literally fights on behalf of Impact, does he reset his mindset now and go after Swan? Does Swan now seem vulnerable now? Is Swan questioning himself? Does Swan want Omega? Where is Swan's mindset at? And where does Omega go from here now, too? Does we finally go after the Impact World Champion? Does he come from Moose? Do we see Omega show up on Impact Wrestling again? There's a lot of different dynamics to figure out here. And again, one half of the Motor City Machine Guns was only involved in this match due to unforeseen circumstances. Again, like you said, Tim, it was a really strong affair that made him look like a main eventer. I loved everything about this match. Thought all 6 men looked very strong in this. Nobody was a weak link. But I feel Moose and Swan is going to be the follow-up to this tomorrow night on Impact Wrestling. As again, Swan owes Moose an Impact World opportunity. And I wonder, is this the end of Swan's reign? And does that mean Swan now goes after Omega? Is Swan more angry about himself or angry with Omega? There's a whole lot of different paradigms here, to say the least. But overall, I thought this was a really, really good match. Now, before we go back into AEW and we get close to wrapping this up, I'm just going to ask you all one straight-out question that Matt Striker asked D'Lo Brown. Do you think Kenny Omega is the best pound-for-pound professional wrestler in the world? Yes or no? Dr. Brad, I will start with you.
100% yes.
All right, there you go. Tim?
150% yes.
As Concast says, I got him on insects. Is there a better professional wrestler, storyteller, champion right now of the past decade going on professional wrestling today, this very moment, better than Kenny Omega? In my opinion, no. So I dare people to challenge us on that. That's all I got to say about that. Okay. So as we go into the end game of our show here, I'd like to call this now the AEWSPARK Aftershock as we look ahead at what is to come this week on AEW and go into freeform discussion. Let's go ahead and first talk about this. So unfortunate circumstances have fallen on Nyla Rose, COVID-related, that she has to quarantine herself. However, we still have a great women's bout coming up this week as basically Penelope Ford now is in place of Nyla Rose to take on one of my favorites to come across the AEW brand independent scene, been a fan of hers since Judgment as Bloodsport, and that is legit Layla Hirsch. So we got legit Layla Hirsch versus Penelope Ford. As Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian, they prepare for this whole wedding thing where Miro now has Chuck as a butler after Miro squashed him in 4 minutes. We'll see how the follow-up on that as well, but I don't really care about that wedding. So whatever. But I'm just going to slowly ask you all this. Legit Layla Hirsch is once again getting another opportunity on AEW Dynamite. And right now she's facing the super bad girl, Penelope Ford. It will be a huge win for her, and might I add, she's still on the sign. But we've also heard subtly on AEWDark, Team Taz, they are looking for a female representative. Could be Legit Layla, could be any of these fine women here, these young up-and-coming prospects. We've seen the likes of Janelle Lloyd, we've seen the likes of Brett Nixon. I apologize if I screw up some of these names. And of course, we got Tessa Price. But I don't know about you all, but I feel like Legit Layla Hirsch could be a good fit for Team Taz. And I wonder if Team Taz could be watching this at all, or is there going to be like a follow-up after this match, like how Anna Jay joined the Dark Order for Mr. Roy Lee. So I just want to slowly ask you all about Legit Layla Hirsch's future, because I feel that Legit Layla Hirsch has a very positive future ahead of her, but I'm wondering, and I know I misspelled it, apologies folks, botch, gotta have some fun here. Literally, I wonder if Legit Layla Hirsch is going to be All Elite eventually, or is she going to be FTW before that? Tim, give me your thoughts on this match. Who do you see going over? And do you see Layla, this being maybe the first step towards Layla joining Team Taz?
I think my thoughts, I think Penelope Ford is going to win this match, definitely, against Leah Hirsch.
Do you see it being a clean victory?
Yes. But I think Leah Hirsch might join FTW as the first woman.
Yeah, just imagine black and orange with Legit Layla Hirsch. Okay.
Join the FTW with Taz.
It's amazing how varied it is when it comes to Ford's last match, her current match. It's set, right? It's like they're protecting her, but she's also a very good wrestler too, and I feel has a very bright future as well. But I don't know. I feel like Hirsch is one of those that is not going to accept a loss here. And if it does happen clean, I could see her maybe going, off an angry rant. Young, angry powerhouse from Moscow. Sounds like a legit fit to me for Team Taz. Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts on this match with Legit Layla Hirsch and Ford. What do you see happening? Could you see maybe this leaning towards maybe Hirsch becoming part of Team Taz?
Well, Legit Layla Hirsch has got a lot of potential. She's always looked good in her matches. I think that she's going over on this match, personally. Penelope Ford's great performer. She's had some great victories, but I think it's time for Layla Hirsch to start having a strong run. We've got a lot of upcoming, female talent in AEW, and it's time to start elevating some of them, and I'm going with Legit Layla Hirsch on this one.
I really want to see Legit Layla Hirsch win this match. I'm not going to lie, but I can kind of see why they would give the win to Ford, but I hope it does set up a bigger angle because Hirsch, in my opinion, she could be a huge foundation to this women's division. Hell, a Team Taz, Legit Layla Hirsch, that's a good storyline build towards maybe being a next challenger for Sheeta. Just saying. And it gives Team Taz a different direction, too, since Brian Cage, he lost the TNT opportunity. It's not like Ricky Starks going to be thrust into it. And we haven't seen much of Hook since that one spot after that Cody match. So we'll have to wait and see. But speaking of Cody, all right. What? What? Okay, I get it. They did face each other once on the independent scene, but will this be pretty? What the hell can I expect from this? Okay, I just want to talk about it because it just seems so bizarre to me. Cody being that guy. He's the guy to wrestle, it seems, in AEW, okay? He's the guy, it seems like you got to wrestle him, you beat him, you're going to go somewhere. I don't see Avalon, despite his streak on Dark lately, beating Cody. What the hell can we expect from this match? Is there a chance in hell that Avalon wins? Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts on this. Is Team Taz going to be involved in this at all? Does Avalon have a chance of winning this?
He might have a couple close victories or close calls if Team Taz gets involved. But at the end of the day, Cody's going to go over.
Yeah, and you got to wonder where Cody's mindset's at right now, too. Fun, how about the waiting room? I mean, I'm sure, again, he's never going to hit a woman. I don't see Jade Cargill getting in here distracting him. And I darn sure don't see Shaq showing up and distracting him. Although I still feel like that is something they're trying to build towards. Not a match, hopefully, but maybe a face-to-face confrontation. Now, how that maybe gets set up from this, I have no idea. Tim, Avalon versus Cody, is this about the most random thing you could think of that could happen right now that could be leading to maybe something bigger for Cody? Because I don't see Avalon getting anything from this besides TV time. There's no way I see Avalon winning.
I don't see Avalon. Basically, it's like you're saying, like if Avalon versus Cody, it's like Brandon Cutler versus Luchasaurus on Doc. It's like the same way. Okay, that's the like. I don't even see Brandon Cutler winning against Luchasaurus, so it's the same way Avalon versus Cody. So like,
I mean, all I can say is both men, Brandon Cutler, Peter Avalon, they finally got their first wins. They've had nice streaks. They're about to be over. That's all I gotta say about that. Okay, so I want to go now before we close here to my Elite Fleet topic asked by one of my friends that I've come to know that is also All Elite, a great friend and a great fan of All Elite Wrestling. She has proposed the following, and shout out to her. Folks, if you don't already, please follow my friend Carol at Miss_Mix_. She's great, positive, bubbly personality, and she is also a huge Kenny Omega fan. She has come with us with the following question to close us out. Good brothers, continue AEW Impact and storytelling. More so subtly, she says this. What do you think the Good Brothers are going to do in AEW, and how do you see them contributing to the company's long-term storytelling? So, as we close tonight with this, let's go ahead and figure about the Good Brothers and their impact going forward in AEW. Brad, I will start with you on this. Give me your thoughts regarding this topic.
Well, I think that when you ask any wrestling fan about All Elite Wrestling, what one of the first things that come to mind is they're going to tell you it's tag team wrestling. So the Good Brothers are going to add to one thing that's already spectacular, which is just another great tag team. There's just a multitude of feuds you can do with the Good Brothers. You can put them up against the Young Bucks. You can have the Good Brothers against FTR. You can put them against Jungle Express. You can put them up against Lucha Brothers. There's all kinds of things you can do. So, I mean, plus, you know, the thought of there being, you know, a tag team champion versus tag team champion type match, not really something we really explored too much in professional wrestling in the past.
Right.
So to see, you know, the AEW champions versus the Impact tag team champions, that would be a match that would be history making.
All right. Tim, your thoughts regarding what the doc just said?
I agree with that. Like, there are so many tag teams in AEW, like, and like there's like strong tag teams. Even if like Trent come back, like Trent and Chuck would be a good tag team too, like back. And Florida, yeah, a lot of good tag teams. Like Acclaim is doing good, so maybe Bear Country could be.
Bear Country versus the Good Brothers, AEWDark. Are you saying you want to see the Good Brothers compete on AEWDark?
It could be.
It just sounds like in general, you guys see more tag team wrestling coming from the Good Brothers, maybe becoming part of the AEW tag team division, because again, that win does matter, even though that was trios. And I wonder next time they do show, because I don't think that was their one-up. I do agree with you all guys there. Will they just compete in a straight-up tag team match? And you think about last year's big story build tag team match. That was tag team match of the year. And it is a tag team match of the year candidate for the AEW Awards. We'll slowly talk about that in a little bit. You wonder, is that the big tag team story match again for the Elite? Where we wonder, is everything fine in the Elite? Are we building towards the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers, where Kenny Omega is subtly supporting the Good Brothers in this? Or is Kenny Omega even like an afterthought in this? Would Kenny Omega be, obviously, I would feel he has to be on the same card. Would he be like the match after this, be indifferent to the result? And who will be like, you know, defending the title against? But the way I see it is this. As far as the Good Brothers, what I think they're going to do in AEW, I think it's as simple as day. I think they're going to continue to be there for their boy Omega. And I feel right now, something I feel brewing, if they don't have the tag team match I'm thinking of with the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers, or Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, I see a six-man tag. I can see the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers taking on John Moxley and the Lucha Brothers, because the Lucha Brothers did come after John Moxley's behalf, even though they have their own motive. I'm sure the Good Brothers don't appreciate the Lucha Brothers being involved in their business. And I'm sure Kenny Omega doesn't appreciate it either. And Kenny Omega, of course, has bad blood with both Lucha Brothers because he beat them. So honestly, though, I see a 6-man tag beforehand that will dissolve, and I still the big match build. It's going to be the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers versus each other at AEW Revolution. I don't think it's going to be title for title. As far as long-term storytelling, I don't see this just stopping here either. I mean, you think about Revolution to redefining the wrestling business with Impact Wrestling. And Impact Wrestling's next pay-per-view is in April at Revolution. I could honestly see maybe them somehow building towards the Young Bucks making their return to Impact Wrestling at Rebellion. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. Bottom line is this. The Elite is far from fine. I think we're just starting to see it once again redefined. And I feel we're going to get more towards this, not only tomorrow night on Impact, but Wednesday night. And that's really all I got to say about that. Well, I think with that being said, gentlemen, we've gone about 90 minutes. I think that's a nice close. Come next time in AEWSPARK, whether you two gentlemen are here or joined with others, we will talk about the TNT title future and the AEW awards, along with a couple of other topics. But I think for right now, I think we will bid this fine episode and day 2 adieu. Let's go ahead and redefine ourselves and reconnect with others as we promote where we can once again connect with all of you. I first off, of course, want to thank both Tim and Dr. Bradley being with me here on AEWSPARK. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation, folks. And again, if you did, like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. And if you want to spark conversation with me and these guys, look us up on Team Elite. Direct message me. My name is Noel Foster. You can find me and Foster1916 on Twitter. I would love to have you part of Spark or even have your question or topic also on here too. With that being said, Tim, it's always a pleasure, brother. Where can people connect with you and find you?
Definitely on We Were Wrestling with Sean Boley on his page. And also Pro Wrestling Junkies. We also get we have Vampiro. So the next guest we have is Vampiro coming up at Pro Wrestling Junkies. So
all right, fair enough. Well, with that being said, I know you and I also got prepared to figure out a team name for the tag title match and prepare for a tag title match. So let's go do it, brother. And you keep me posted on that, and I know we'll stay in touch. Dr. Brad, it's always a pleasure, my friend. You bring such great vibes and good advice, and of course, a good talk to. Where can people connect and find you?
So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Team All Elite. You can find me on Team WWE. You can find me on Team New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can just pretty much find me here from time to time on AEWSPARK, just chatting it up.
And that's all it is. It's a free-form conversation with 3 or more or less open-minded fans on all things All Elite Wrestling. And again, I hope you all enjoyed the discussion too. You want to know more about me, though? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So follow me on Twitter, like I said. Connect with me there. And Foster1916. Instagram and Foster1916. Keep following the Civil YouTube channel here. YouTube.com/C/NoFoster210 for all things wrestling. Shout out to AEW Family on Twitter. There will be live stream predictions coming up soon for the Royal Rumble and maybe for NJPW's New Beginning as well. I might start doing live reactions as I continue to evolve my channel as I approach actually my 29th birthday next month. So maybe I'll continue to evolve the channel here. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. And as always, folks, you want to know more about this is the description down below. Support my friends, all my affiliates. NoDQ, FTW, Jeff Meacham Network, Great Cherry Brand, Cindy G, Into the Stratosphere, Adventures in Wrestling, Bulletcast, Team All Elite, Team NJPW, We Want Wrestling Talk. The list goes on and on and on. At the end of the day, I just want to encourage people, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. For there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters. There are just fans. Why attack each other? Let's appreciate one another as we all share our own defined passion for this sport, this craft, this, well, let's just call it a lifestyle, it seems. True. And that is wrestling. Simple as that. So until next time, I hope you all again enjoyed the show. I bid you all adieu. And again, if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell notifications on this channel or record it. Leave us a comment, leave me a question, and if you want to be a part of this forum, direct message me. It's as simple as that. All you need is StreamYard. Well, actually, you don't. I have StreamYard. All you need is an internet-capable device with microphone and camera, and you guys can join the All Elite Fun too. So until next time, take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families and enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever. 2021 is going to be a hell of a year, I could already tell. for AEW and so much more too. For Dr. Bradley Campbell, PharmD. For Tim Tobin, I am the Superman Noah Foster, and I thank all of you. I now bid you all a fine adieu. Until our next spark, that will be some point later this week. Goodbye and good night. Bang. Thank you both.